Hello, 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 and welcome to Walk Talk Health. So if you're looking for better brain function, heart function, blood pressure improvements, general digestion, health, and so much more, then this is the Walk and Talk for you. Today we're going to be discussing two fruits, bananas and blueberries, and how they have an amazing effect on the human body in terms of our living longer, healthier. We're here in Borghese Park, Rome, Italy, beautiful city. We're going to cover the amazing benefits of eating bananas and blueberries, and then we're going to move on to some of the incredible tourist sites of Rome at the end. So stick around for that. There's just some amazing buildings and architecture and fountains and all kinds of stuff to enjoy. That's coming up later. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy this walk and talk and you get some benefit from it. So before we get started, this is Villa Borghese. Beautiful building. I think you can go inside. We might go look at that later, but we're actually in the grounds. In the grounds there are like a zoo, gardens. We're looking forward to having a look around here. So the first fruit we're going to discuss are bananas. I eat one a day for the following reasons in terms of the health benefits. So the first thing that we need to talk about in bananas is potassium. Now potassium carries an electrical charge that lets your nerves signal your heart to beat steadily and muscles to contract properly. It also flushes excess sodium out of the body through the urine, and it relaxes therefore the blood vessel walls. Now that's important because if the blood vessel walls are relaxed, you end up with lower blood pressure. Also, the nerve signal is important. If you ever find yourself getting cramp, that will be because you probably don't have enough potassium. Most of us get plenty of sodium in our diet, Na+, whereas potassium, K-, the sign for that. Just think of it like a battery. When you power something, you have a positive terminal and a negative terminal. In this case, sodium, salt, Na+, and potassium, K-. So if you don't have enough of the minus in there, you don't get a proper circuit. So the brain tells a muscle to contract, and basically the way the signal moves is like plus minus down the nerve endings to the muscle. But if you haven't got the potassium, it doesn't tell it to relax, and therefore it stays in that locked position, and that's what we determine and call cramp. So having potassium is very important, and most people are deficient. One banana a day literally should give you enough potassium for everyday kind of nervous system functions. Bananas also contain vitamin B6. Now this is a very important vitamin. It actually helps your body turn carbs, so things like pasta, bread, sweets, alcohol, fats from meat and proteins from meat into energy. So you can eat all the healthy food you like, but without vitamin B6, you're not going to be able to create energy from it. Bananas and B6 also help us make new blood cells, red blood cells. Now why is that important? Well, our red blood cells obviously carry oxygen and nutrients to every cell in our body. So every function that our body has to carry out needs both those nutrients and the oxygen. And therefore new blood cells is very important. It also supports the brain chemicals for mood and nerve function. So B6 is important for that. And it also keeps your immune system and nervous system running smoothly. Bananas are very high in fibre. That's important because in our digestive system we have both good bacteria and bad bacteria. Well, I say bad bacteria, bacteria that really don't do us any good. And if anything, they like sugars, and that ends up in gas and discomfort, which we don't want. So the fibre feeds the good bacteria, and the good bacteria in turn are what digests our food and extracts all the minerals and the compounds that our body needs. They're also high in what's something called resistant starches. Now the greener the banana, the better. Once they start turning yellow and brown, now we're talking about almost zero resistant starches, and everything now is becoming sugar. And sugar of course feeds the bad bacteria, including increasing bloating, etc. So you want to eat them before they get overly ripe if you want the resistant starches. And the resistant starches actually make it through the acid of the stomach and through the small intestine and actually end up in the main colon, where a lot of the good bacteria lives, and helps to actually feed those good bacteria. In the colon, the resistant starches get fermented into short chain fatty acids, which are essential for the human body, important ones like butyrate. These short chain fatty acids then do important things like nourish the gut lining. So around the gut lining, which is only one cell thick, and it's a specialist cell, very tightly interlinked so that it can't let things through that aren't meant to get through into the blood, there's something called a mucus layer. And in that mucus layer, a lot of the healthy bacteria, especially one called Akkermansia, look that one up, very important, this is where they live. So the resistant starches and the fibre help nourish the gut lining, and as a result, because it's healthy, it cuts inflammation in the gut, which means that you're going to get less again indigestion and discomfort after you've eaten, and it also stabilises blood sugar, and that's very important because blood sugar causes insulin spikes, and we know that insulin spikes or insulin itself causes inflammation if it's consistent, and we know that inflammation, chronic inflammation, continuously in an inflamed state, leads to pretty much every major illness that we face in today's modern society. Finally, as regards to banana, they're quite high in vitamin C. Everyone's heard of vitamin C, but not necessarily understands what vitamin C does. It actually protects the cells from damage. Now that's important because when cells get damaged in the process of trying to repair themselves, that's when things like senescent cells can be formed, or worse, they can turn into cancer cells. So helping the cells to protect themselves from things like inflammation and oxidation is vitally important for overall health and longevity, and vitamin C does that. Vitamin C also boosts the immune system. So before we move on to blueberries, it's important to say, don't take blueberries and bananas together. A lot of people like to do that, right, in their yogurt or cereal, but they actually cancel each other out to some extent. So in bananas, there's something called a polyphenol oxidase, or also known as a PPO, that breaks down flavonoids. So bottom line is, the flavonoids the heart needs for heart health, and the polyphenol, the PPO in the banana, breaks these flavonoids down. So you're going to eat these blueberries to try and get the flavonoids, only for the bananas to break those down before they get to the heart and have any kind of real benefit. Okay, let's move on to blueberries and all the amazing benefits of blueberries. By the way, blueberries are probably my favourite fruit. Close anyway to strawberries. Let's get into it, some amazing health benefits. So the big one for blueberries is the anthocyanins that I just mentioned. These are antioxidants that fight inflammation and free radicals. I've covered in some previous videos, but you may not have seen them, so let's just briefly cover it again. Whenever we burn energy in our body, any kind of reaction, we basically use up electrons and electrical charge, which can give off something called a free radical. It's like a spare electron that doesn't get used when we burn oxygen in particular. In the same way that when you leave an apple core on the side, it starts to go brown after you've cut it, and that's because it's oxidized. In the same way that metal exposed to oxygen can oxidize, we clearly don't want that going on inside of our arteries. So the anthocyanins are really important because they act as an antioxidant. They hoover up those spare electrons and the free radicals. And as a result, because we don't have that oxidation going on, that reduces inflammation. And again, that's important because inflammation leads to major disease. It's therefore considered, although not completely proven, that the anthocyanins reduce the chances of heart disease, and also because blood flow is very important and non-oxidation of the brain is very important, the reduce chances of cognitive decline. And then finally, vitamin C is in blueberries too, which again strengthens immune support whilst in helping with the white blood vessels. They're the ones that are our immune cells, and also it aids collagen production. So another benefit of vitamin C is that if you want your skin to look younger and plumper, then we need vitamin C to help us produce collagen. And then if you do end up with a cut in your skin, which happens from time to time, vitamin C is also needed for help with wound healing. So again, vitamin C, we all have heard of it, eat your fruit. There's a very good reason for it. Vitamin C is vitally important to the human body and our overall systems. Going back to bananas for a second. This is, by the way, the entrance to the museum in the park. Most of us throw away the peel, myself included. I've only just recently learnt what I'm about to tell you. So the peel itself is also loaded with potassium, and we now know the benefits of that. But it also has magnesium and antioxidants in it too. Those minerals in particular help relax muscles, not just the blood vessel wall lining, and they also support sleep, the magnesium in particular. Whilst the antioxidants, as I've already explained, fight the free radicals. So what you can do is cut off the stalky bit of the banana, put it in after you've washed it. Make sure you wash it in case there's chemicals like pesticides on it. Put it into boiling water for 5 minutes, steeping it, and what will come out is the potassium, the magnesium and the antioxidants, but also something called tryptophan, which your body uses to make serotonin and melatonin. Serotonin is the wake up hormone that we need to get us going in the morning, and melatonin is the hormone that helps us get to sleep at night. So getting tryptophan out of the banana skin that is not in the banana itself is very important. So maybe try. I'm going to give it a go. I'm told it actually tastes quite nice in terms of it tastes of banana. So I'll let you know how I get on. Okay, it's that time to ask for your help again. This channel is in no way monetized. Its sole purpose is to reach people just like you and help them on their health journey to living longer, healthier. So if you've got any benefit from this walk and talk or any of my previous walk and talks, can I ask a big favor? Can you please hit the like, subscribe, the bell notification if you want instant notification of my next video. But just as important, leave a comment. Tell me where in the world you're watching from. Maybe ask a question about bananas or blueberries. I love to read the comments and I will respond to each and every one of them. Finally, if you think of anyone you know that might benefit from this walk and talk or my previous walk and talks, please also share the videos. By helping others, you're helping me, and I thank you in advance for doing that. Thank you. There's tons of these little statues and things of interest as you walk through, which are pretty amazing. And a close-up of the statue. Pretty cool. All kinds of random things going on inside the park. Pretty cute. There's some pretty amazing views of Rome from the park. Okay, zooming in now to the Vatican. Okay, time for the recap. Let's start with bananas. So the first thing in bananas are potassium. Potassium is important for the nervous system. It helps muscles relax after we've instructed it from the brain to contract. And if we don't have potassium, we end up with things like cramp. Potassium is also very important for helping the body to excrete excess sodium out through the urine. Bananas have B6, they're quite rich in B6. Now that's important for things like brain function, creating new red blood cells. Bananas are also high in fibre and resistant starches. Fibre is good for feeding those good bacteria that we need to break down our food. And finally for bananas, we're talking vitamin C, which is important for immune function support, also for cell health. Moving on to blueberries, the main compound is anthocyanins. Now these are important for being antioxidants, being anti-inflammation, for protecting the cell from damage, and again helping generally our immune system. Join me next time when we're going to discuss another food as medicine. I think you're going to enjoy it. Again, something tasty but beneficial at the same time. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Okay, we're passing or coming down to Castle St. Angelo. Walking across the bridge, all these amazing statues. River, etc. So we're here at Castel St. Angelo. I've not been here before. This is inside Castle d'Angelo. Walkway up to it, I guess. Everyone's following the same way. Come to some internal stairs. Coming up into a room at the top of the castle. Okay, finally getting to the top of the entrance ramp, which went on for a long time, and we get to a cute little courtyard. Okay, view from the top of the castle, down over the famous bridge with the statues, and then the river. It's a cloudy day today, but it is what it is. Yeah, the basilica where the Pope etc. is, we'll go there next. Another set of stairs, which I think takes us right to the very top. The Dome Park. Yeah, this brings you right out on top. I think this is, what do you think this is, the Trevi Fountain or something? I don't know. But definitely there's the steps. Okay, we're about to go up those steps and go right to the very top. Should be counting these steps and work out how many we just came up, but a lot is the simple answer. And they're going right up the top there. Oh, what a surprise, some more steps. Okay. And if you really want a little bit of extra workout, you can climb those steps too. There we go. Just came from down there. That's a pretty cool climb though. Another amazing square. Everywhere you walk in Rome, you just turn a corner and there's history. Pretty cool. Okay, heading down towards St. Peter's Square, and let's see if the Pope's in to come and say hi to us. Coming up to St. Peter's Square now. And here we are in St. Peter's Square proper. There's probably a plaque here somewhere telling us what it is. But there's nothing obvious, but clearly a proper old Roman ruin of some sort. Pretty cool. Pretty impressive building. It supposedly is taking us to the Colosseum. You've got to admire the ability that people have got to make enormous great statues like this out of a single piece of stone. Can you imagine getting to like 2/3 of the way through and then the horse's hoof falls off or something and then you have to start again? Oh, what's over here? This could be quite cool. Looks like ruins of some sort. Oh yeah, look. Wow. Okay, we're heading down towards some Roman ruins on the way to the Colosseum, which when we were up the hill I could see it in the distance, so we're not very far now, probably less than a 7 or 8 minute walk. If you want to get some exercise in like we like to do, and get to see parts of Rome you just go straight past on the bus, you wouldn't even know that we're there, I'd recommend you walk. Anyway, that's just my 10 pence worth, or 10 cents worth. That's what I would recommend. Cool. And just up in that direction over there is where the Colosseum is. Should be there in 5 minutes. See it in the distance. That's our next stop. People everywhere doing what we're doing. Enjoying Rome. This is one side of it. Here's the Colosseum from the other side. We're finally here. And it's manic, you can't get near it, and if you want to get near it you have to buy a ticket now. It's all about make money. We think this is the fountain that Dan Brown's Angels and Demons, they push the priest in who goes on to become Pope. There's 3 fountains in this square. We think this is the one. It's big enough for it to be deep enough for him to go right under like they do in the movie.